A pleasant day to all of you. Welcome to the program agenda on this 26th day of July 2022. And I'm your host, Cito Beltran, thanking you for being subscribers of Cignal TV, viewers of One News PH, particularly the program agenda. It's a Tuesday, and let's get on with the day with our daily starter. And it was shared to me by my friend Adrian Cruz in the DFA. It is something that we should really pay particular attention to, and let's go and review it. If you are silent about your beliefs because you are worried someone will be offended, then your beliefs are not that important to you, but rather what people think about you is. When you stand up for what is right and true, you will receive both hate and love. But everyone will know what you are fighting for. And I felt obliged, if not led, to share this today on our daily starter because there's just so much compromising, so much political correctness, and so much pretension in the world today that sometimes we actually go, when we ask people, are you on the side of so-and-so? Are you in agreement or disagreement with this topic before we even express our own views? Kumbaga, naniniguro po marami sa atin, hindi na lang nakakasiguro sa paninindigan natin. I'm just sharing this because in this day and age, we need righteous people. We need people with principle, and we need people who will stand up for what they believe in, of course, within reason and with compassion, but still stand their ground. Okay, now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. And the state of the nation is sound. That is the headline of the Philippine Star. After the President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos delivered his first State of the Nation address, maayos naman daw po ang kalagayan ng Pilipinas. Hindi parang palitaw na lumulubog, lumilitaw. Maayos daw. Okay, and the President indicated numerous plans, projects, and concerns in the State of the Nation address. And marami po dyan pag-uusapan natin with our first guest today. But before that, let's go quickly through the news. DepEd starts enrollment for school year 2022 to 2023. Yan po, no? Next week yata, umpisa na tayo. We won't abandon even an inch of Philippine territory. Sabi nga ni President BBM, we will remain friend to all, but we will be jealous of what is ours, and kumbaga, we will be possessive. So those are statements referring to the South China Sea. Nuclear power, alternative energy, eyed for reliable supply, and BBM vows no more lockdowns. Okay? Right-sizing tops Marcos priority bill. Marcos wants mandatory ROTC in-person classes. Senator Mig Subiri heads the Senate while 3 blocks are formed. Okay. Obiena races bar, bags bronze in the competition abroad. And last but not the least, the fashion show at the Congress continued in its tradition yesterday. Yan na po. Those are our front page news. Let's now introduce our first guest for the day.
Rogelio Babe Singson currently serves as the President of Management Association of the Philippines. He is also the President and CEO of Metro Pacific Water. Prior to this, Singson was the Secretary of Public Works and Highways under former President Noynoy Aquino. He was also the president and CEO of Maynilad and former chairman of the Bases Conversion and Development Authority.
Okay, good morning, Secretary, Director, CEO, Chairman, Rogelio Singson. Sir, welcome to the program.
Maraming salamat, Cito, for having me this morning.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before I start interrogating, actually, no. Yeah, talking with our guest today, allow me to just share a story that goes back 30 years ago when I was still operating or managing a small resort in northern Palawan, in Busuanga. And I went to the pier, well, it wasn't a pier, it was a jetty, landingan ng mga bangka in the mangroves. And I went to pick up a family who were going to stay in the island. And ayun po, so in-assist namin sila, binaba namin bagahe, and tunulungan ko po yung mga pasahero. And sila lang, no, bumaba sila. And lo and behold, I was face to face with the Secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highways. Walang arte, walang forma, napaka mapakumbaba. That is our guest. He is our guest for today. Former Secretary Singson. Sorry, sir, I had to share that story. I don't know if you're uncomfortable, but you know, you don't get a lot of praise for being such a nice person. Anyway.
Hindi naman ganun katagal ata, Cito. Mga 20 years lang. Hindi
20
naman
years lang ba? Pasensya ka na, namamatanda ako. Anyway, sir, thank you for joining us today. And the purpose is that, well, of course, you represent the Management Association of the Philippines, essentially executives of different corporations in the country. What was the reaction of your colleagues, your associates, or industry representatives to the SONA, or sabi nga ng iba, SANA, yesterday of President Bongbong Marcos?
Yeah. Immediately before the new Secretary of Trade, Fred Pascual, stepped in as DTI Secretary, the MAP board had prepared an agenda for the incoming administration. We covered 8 major areas, no? And we're very happy that he covered practically all except for one. No?
Okay.
So all the 8 areas, from education, health, agriculture, and agribusiness, infrastructure, trade and industry, labor and employment, and of course he started with fiscal and financial policies. No, President FM Jr. defined the targets, no, very detailed, no, in terms of GDP growth until 2028. But to me, what was striking was he already mandated NEDA to come up with a medium-term fiscal plan up to 2028, and that has to be submitted by Secretary RC by the end of this year, no, which is good. That gives more or less the roadmap for how government spending will be done and what the different departments should be doing.
Okay, so you gave your association submitted a proposal, a position paper of sorts, and 7 out of 8 were mentioned.
Oh,
now, of the what wasn't mentioned? Parang lahat kinover niya eh.
Well, I personally was hoping that there would have been a stronger statement in terms of good governance. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Good governance and transparency and accountability in dealing with government. No, I was hoping he would have made a stronger statement there in front of Congress.
Is it possible that was not mentioned simply because it has always been something that critics used as a springboard, or it had the potential of opening the gates of hell for his attackers to come upon him, so to speak?
Well, I personally, as a cabinet member if you want to stand up on your principles, of course, you want your chief executive to be behind you. No? Baka maiwan ka sa pangpang na hindi ka tulungan. No?
Correct.
So it's important that the clear direction in terms of, okay, for example, I'm a cabinet member. I want to implement good governance principles. Will my president be behind me? If I go against contractors or politicians who do not, alam mo na mangyayari, will the president be behind me? That will always be a question behind a cabinet member's direction.
Okay, now piece by piece, because I went through his speech, I read the printed material. Honestly, Sec Babes, I had nosebleed. My immediate reaction was, wow, this is economist heavy, requires translation. Pero paano kaming ordinaryong Pilipino, how can we relate to this? How should the president lay it down on the floor?
I think the intention, Cito, I'm just trying to understand the context, no? People have been saying wala ka pang programang ililatad. During the campaign, there was not much, no? Basta sama-sama tayo, no? Now, here comes the first opportunity to draw up a program, no? And to my mind, by saying so on the first SONA, all the cabinet members are already on the line, no? In terms of, sinabi ko na yung gagawin. From finance to tourism to infrastructure, kinover niya lahat including health, including agrarian reform, ganun ka-detalya, no? And to my mind, it is now up to the cabinet secretaries to execute, no? And again, at the end of the day, it will be all a question of execution, no? All the niceties are there, but the execution will make the difference.
You've been around the block several times, so to speak, and okay, the plan has been laid out and correct. It is quite detailed. In fact, may mga special mention pa nga. Ivan Uy, for instance, who we've guested here, and I have been writing about internet connectivity, mobile, cell sites, etc. Talagang na-special mention siya, and una siya sa special mention. Then there was Manny Bonoan, there was Yulo
Loisaga.
And so, pero how should they start now? Because parang chicken and the egg, di ba? We want to build, pero may budget ba tayo?
No, may mandate na sila eh. Now they have to struggle among themselves, no? And if you recall, he did mention DPWH together with some other agencies, health, no, more regional specialty hospitals.
Yes.
Infrastructure in terms of rails, in terms of airports, puros kwanyan, infrastructure heavy and budget heavy, no? So I'm glad that he did mention that those that can be undertaken under PPP should be encouraged, no? Kasi for a time, ODA ang inaasahan which to my mind is not it's not a good use of government resources. You use your borrowing capacity for projects that are not of any interest to the private sector, no?
Okay, good that you mentioned that, because I have been speaking with a couple of big business leaders, and they have said that yung ODA a racket, to quote someone. Yang ODA o ODA, yung government to government racket yan, because a government will lend the Philippines money, pero sa kanila naman manggagaling lahat ng materials, lahat ng employee, etc.
Correct.
Tapos tutubo pa sila sa atin.
Well, that's why they depende sa pinanguutangan, no? Let's say, sabi nila yung China, ang daming nakabinbin na rail projects. I'm glad that it did not push through because China is not a member of the OECD countries, no, which are governed by certain lending rates, lending rules, no. Pagka umutang ka sa China, they will just designate a state agency. Ayan, ikaw mag-execute kahit hindi niya linya yon, no. And then of course the rates are higher. And the records will show we are getting better terms and with JICA, the Japanese government, the Korean government, and the multilateral agencies. No?
Yeah, Sec Babes, you represent MAP right now, the Management Association of the Philippines. Please forgive my, I'm being transparent here, ignorant. You know, can't the Filipino businessmen fund these things? Kasi sabi ko, si Ramon Anga gumagawa ng airport. Sila Hansi, sila gumagawa ng pagkalalaking malls na pwedeng gawing airport. Bakit hindi natin pwedeng parte-partehin yan? O sige babes, itong 5 kilometers sa'yo, Cito 5 kilometers sa'yo, etc.
That's the whole objective of the PPP. And the president did mention that he will push for an amendment of the BOT law to make it more adaptable to level competition and open the field, including foreign investors. No? He mentioned about foreign investors in telecoms, in energy. No? Dahil these are big bucks. No? Hindi naman unlimited ang resources ng private sector. But as you can see,
but Ken, is there a possibility? I mean, I'm not saying that Filipino private sector can do everything, but can we at least manage to? Kasi alam ko ginawa na nila yung ano ba, 7 Dragons ba yun? Attempted the NAIA thingamajiggy that was complete failure.
That was failure because they changed the rules. I'm familiar with that one.
Okay. What happened?
Basta't level playing field, competition will be most welcome. No, wag lang yung maraming backdoor. No, and that's why I was saying good governance principles would have been a good statement so that all the cabinet members are guided. O walang backdoor dealings dito ha. All will be transparent and full accountability of the cabinet members. No, low-lying fruits. I-privatize yung LRT, LRT2, MRT3, PNR. That's going to be private sector. Operations and maintenance will be best in the hands of the private sector. Cito, no amount of good intentions in government can operate and maintain facilities. Magpapalit ka lang ng bumbilya, magpapaalam ka pa sa COA. Paano ka namang, how will you be efficient? No?
Yeah, but good that you mentioned that because I interviewed former NEDA Secretary Pernia here and also Ivan Uy, and they both said the same thing, that as creative as you and I and 100 million Filipinos can be, our laws are so antiquated. The law covering telecoms is so antiquated. The COA rules are so antiquated that hindi ka makapasok ng X-deal, rent in exchange for dedicated frequency. And then the Civil Service Commission, yung kanilang pay rate, nung panahon na nasa college ka pa at ako ay nasa elementary, sabi niya, how can we get IT specialist, cybersecurity expert if we'll pay them messenger salaries?
Cabinet Secretary pays a beastly amount. I'm telling you, mas mataas yung sweldo ng executive assistant ko dito sa private sector than a cabinet secretary.
Wow. Okay. So what, I mean, you're a respected leader, public figure, and now in the business sector. If President Marcos were to ask you, Tito Babes, what can I do? That will be a 30-day solution. 30 days magagawa na natin. At least may mapapakita tayo sa Pilipino.
Addressin niya yung NCR commuter problem, public transport. It can be done. It can be done. halimbawa, MRT3. LRT compared to LRT1, which I was also the president for at least more than a year, no, sa Light Rail Manila, which runs on Taft Avenue. That is the oldest system. Itinayo pa ng panahon ni First Lady yan when she was MMDA, no, or Human Settlements, no.
Yeah.
But we are a lot more efficient than those operated by government. We can do 500,000 commuters daily. Okay? 500,000 passengers daily. And the headway, pagka nasa stasyon ka na, asahan mo, we can do 3.5 minutes, dadating yung tren. Okay? Pumunta ka sa government operated, 8 minutes, baka hindi pa dumating. No? I mean, as I have said this over and over, no amount of good intentions, no, you cannot operate kasi presyuhan lang eh. Nagpabid ka ng pyesa, pinakamura, no, pero hindi naman tatagal. There's no such thing as quality differential, no. Now, ang gagawin nila, nag-umpisa ka 10 tren. Okay, nangailangan ka ng pyesa sa train number 1, kakahuyin mo na yung number 10. So uubusin mo yung pyesa from within your, kasi nga hindi ka makabili. So from 10, it becomes 9, it becomes 8. So after 5 years, kalahati na lang yung train mo yung tumatakbo. Dahil hindi ka nga makadesisyon ng mabilis because of government procurement rules. No? That's the reality. Cito, I've been there. No? Sabi mo nga, nung LRTA was our regulator. No?
Yes.
They were imposing so many restrictions, what we call key performance indicators sa LRT1. Ang tanong ko sa kanila, napaka-stricto nyo sa amin. Ito bang strictness na to ini-impose nyo sa sarili nyo? Because they were running LRT2. Hindi daw, hindi kaya ng LRT2 management. I mean, you impose that on the private sector and you don't impose it on yourself. That's why you cannot be an operator and a regulator at the same time.
Ayun. So essentially, let private sector privatize all our mass transit.
That's
and
right.
then let the government just collect royalties or its commission.
I-regulate nila. Respect the concession agreements, respect the tariff that have to be adjusted based on a parametric formula. And then give them a free hand. Tignan nyo kung yung key performance indicators nila are being achieved, yung headway, yung cleanliness of the trains, and so on. You know, between MRT3 and LRT1, both can actually move 500,000 passengers daily, each of them. But now they're not doing it. They're way below that target.
Okay, now there would be people who would tell you, but babes, the problem is cost to the commuter. Baka pag pinabayaan namin.
Mali yan, Cito. Makikipag-away ko dyan, kapareho nung nasa Maynilad ako, sinasabi nila, mahal yung tubig ng Maynilad. O sige, mag-compute ka, magkano binibili nyo yung tubig na malinis na nasa jersey can? No? 20 pesos yung jersey can, isa. Sa Maynilad, aabot sa bahay mo, 20 pesos is 1 cubic meter of water. No? Alin ang mahal dyan? Okay. Tapos tanong ko sa kanila, tanong mo nga kung saan nila kinuha yung tubig na yan na binibili nyo, malamang ninakaw pa sa Maynilad yan. Then, chlorinated water, saan siya magkukuha ng chlorinated water kung hindi sa tubo ng Maynilad? No?
Correct. So in fact, ginagawa ng iba, kinukuha yung tubig ninyo, binabayaran naman kayo, nilalagay sa tangke nila, pinifilter lang at binibentang
correct.
Mineral water daw o bottled water.
Right. 20 pesos yung isang jersey can na yon. Sa Maynila, 20 pesos ang isang cubic meter of tubig. 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. Mas marami yon. Ilang jersey cans yun? Mga 6.
Okay. So you're saying dapat i-deregulate yung LRT, yung MRT, etc. Now, what other instant noodle solutions can we think of? Pasensya ka na kasi ako, ang sinabi ko, Sir Babes,
yung
i-declare
existing-
natin ng Pilipinas open city
Yung
na
existing busway, ayusin nila yung busway system. Yung tinatawag lang carousel connecting
yes.
in several nomenclatures. Basta magdagdag sila ng buses, especially during peak hours, no?
Nagiging problema daw, hindi naman daw, libre nga, hindi naman nababayaran yung mga drivers, tapos konti ang mga buses.
I think yung libre sakay na yan should end by end of this year. And then, or magbigay ka ng libre sakay off-peak hours, no? Nagbigay ka ng libre sakay, di yung kahit na hindi pumapasok sa opisina, nakikisabay. Bigyan mo ng libre sakay yun ng alas 10. Palagi ko mababawasan yung peak hour volume mo.
Okay. Sir Babes, we'll just go for a quick break, and when we return, pag-usapan pa natin yung mga ibang yan and ano yung mga napansin ninyo sa State of the Nation address of PBBM. Okay, we'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and with us as our first guest is the former secretary of the DPWH and one of the respected gentlemen in public service, and now the man in front of the public for the Management Association of the Philippines, Rogelio Singson. Sir Babes, going back to our discussions. Okay, so sabi mo, the president has correctly laid out his plan. It may seem like a nosebleed material, but it is addressing all the criticism of people saying that he has no plans and programs. So now he has given it to Congress and he has given it to his cabinet members. And now you were talking about instant noodle solutions such as addressing the mobility of people in Metro Manila. Now, you also said if you deregulate LRT, MRT, let private sector run it professionally, it can move 500,000 Filipinos daily. Now,
per line. So
per line.
The two per line, 1 million yan, kayang-kaya to move in Metro Manila.
Okay. Now, you said improve the bus carousel system and that it should be over by the end of the year. Some people will say, teka, that's the only good PR left from the Duterte administration.
I mean, as I said, no, magbigay ka ng libreng sakay, not all hours, no. Sabi nga sa'yo, makikisabay lahat yan sa mga naghahabol ng opisina, no. Kaya makita mo yung pila during the peak hour. Magbigay ka ng libre sa kayang gusto mo, off-peak. No? Huwag mong isabay. Mamamasyal lang ako, makikisabay pa ako dun sa alas 7, alas 8. No?
But what about the peak hour people? Libre pa rin, hindi na libre?
Hindi na. They're actually willing to pay. I would imagine. No? Dahil dati naman nagbabayad sila eh. Ang importante lang sa kanila makasakay, makaabot ng maayos. Hindi yung pipila ka ng kalahating oras, maghihintay ka sa stasyon ng napakatagal, no? Tapos bababa ka sa kabilang side, no? Baka masagasaan ka pa. Yung
So peak hours, pay as you go pag peak hours, and then off-peak pwedeng magkaroon ng libreng sakay siguro for senior citizens, children, students, and the pregnant women.
Yeah. There are ways of handling that to decongest peak hours.
Okay, now I'll refocus here because you are an infrastructure expert. You understand the complexities of PPP. When the first executive order, if I remember correctly, of BBM had to do with the veto of the economic zone inside the San Miguel Airport in Bulacan.
Airport.
Malacanang said, hindi, inaayos lang namin, tinutuwid lang namin yung medyo exaggerated provisions of the law. Now, what would be your advice regarding this? Because, in terms of infrastructure, you're correct. In terms of PPP, San Miguel has put up the NAIEX, the SLEX, is now putting up San Miguel Airport. Lagi naman kinokontra ng gobyerno.
I think kulang ng technical expertise sa gobyerno. No, unfortunately, I'll be very candid. No, way back when because I was with BCA, as you mentioned, we were planning the international airport in the Villamor area. Okay, so we were ready to come up with the terms of reference, but since BCA just merely owned the land, it was going to be DOTC that was going to undertake the development of the new international airport, to take over the Terminal 2. Nung nagpunta kami sa DOTC, sino ba yung airport planner ninyo? Can we develop it like Changi? Yung palang airport planner doon has never stepped on Changi. So he does not know what I was talking about. No? I mean, sad story to say, but that was the reality. Yung airport planner mo, hindi pa nakakatungtong sa Changi. Anong klaseng airport ang ide-develop mo?
Okay. So, having said that, yes, sir?
We need experts. And I was hoping Secretary Jimmy Bautista will start maybe recruiting some of Filipino expats who are abroad who are experts in transport. No? Marami tayo. Sa California lang, ang daming transport experts dyan na nagpapatakbo ng mga realist nila. No?
Yeah, but
we have to be a little bit creative about pulling in expertise. No?
Okay, would it help if the president simply put up a ito na naman tayo, committee de problema or commission de consumption? Would it be possible to put up a presidential action group or something na can go over and above all of the restrictions? Because you're recommending we get technical experts from Singapore, from LA, pero sabihin sila, hello babes, you pay violet, you don't pay green.
Cito Galito, I'm confident with the head of PMS. No, she is a foreign service, alam niya overseas, may expertise and so on. If within the PMS or the staff of the president, they can focus on talk to the private sector. Ang daming executive search entities dyan who can start identifying Filipino experts in energy, transport, health. Imbitahin nila. Maybe some of them, I recall when I was looking at LRT, we had volunteers from California, no, willing to give back to the country, no, give advice. Some are even willing to work full time, no, not too concerned about economic salaries or benefits, no. They just want to contribute to nation building. It can be done. I just hope PMS will pick it up and say that, okay, Mr. President, can we discuss this? Are you open to hiring or even inviting the Filipino expats, no, who have been sa finance lang, ang daming nasa Singapore.
Yeah, pero can we create our economic IATF, so to speak? Pasensya ka na, no? Kasi during the pandemic, the IATF was the solution to everything, good or bad. Mostly good naman. There was a body that was addressing the problem as it came. Now, we have so many problems in different sectors of society and in industries that cannot be done through the regular process, especially given the fact that we need to fast-track everything within 6 to 12 months.
Yeah. You know, Cito, when I was with the Office of the Cabinet Secretary, under Ping De Jesus at that time, like over the President Cory Aquino, we had a support system, cabinet, ang tawag namin Cabinet Assistance System, CAS. No? So that everywhere President Cory would go to the provinces, before she goes to the provinces, we would have identified what were the major concerns in those provinces, in those areas. And we would talk to, ang kailangan dito, Department of Agriculture, ang kailangan dito, Department of Education. So, nasa sala mo, no? Pagdating ng cabinet meeting, alam din ni Secretary Ping, who was the cabinet secretary then, o Secretary Estuar, DPWH, ito ang kailangan namin dyan sa probinsya yan, pupunta si Presidente, can we address that? No? So, it is a support to the cabinet because the cabinet they have also many hats. No? They are chairman of attached agencies. Kuminsan, some of these major pressing concerns fall within the cracks. No?
Yeah.
So, now, mas mabuti nga, napagsama na yung cabinet support Office of the Cabinet Secretary and PMS, iisa na lang ang hepe niyan, no? Which is Secretary Zenaida Angpin. No? So I just hope that they're able to process, no, as you said, yung mga pressing matters so that at the cabinet meeting, focused ang pag-uusapan.
Okay, what about the PPP? Kasi at the moment, what I know of the PPP is it is an office of the Timog flyover, on the side of the Timog flyover, napakaliit na parang bodega, and yet it is now the center of the universe in terms of expectation. Kumbaga, everything that can happen will have to be generated by that office, but what support have they ever gotten and what should be done?
Well, two things, as you mentioned. No? One is identify, I'm talking of infrastructure in general. No? Identify what are the infrastructure projects that have to be undertaken by government and what can be done through PPP. No? Yan yung first step. Okay. After that, okay, those projects that have to be done by government, hindi pwedeng magkanya-kanya. No? That's why when I was DPWH, we had what I referred to as infrastructure convergence program. No? O tourism, Secretary Mon, identify mo nga lahat ng mga tourist destinations mo at bibigyan ko kayo ng kalye, national road standard papunta riyan. And that's why we were able to build so many into the tourism destinations. No? And then sabi ko, DOTR, asan ng mga airports na dinedevelop mo at seaports? Patingin na, hindi namin alam, nagde-develop pala sila ng seaport or Roro Port. dadaanan mo barangay road. Paano namang magiging maengganyo yung mga buses dyan? Barangay road yung dadaanan. Yung airport, Lagindingan Airport, patapos na nung inabot namin, naghabol kami doon ng National Road, no?
Mhm.
So, these things,
So it has to be
convergence.
okay,
Convergence of
convergence. And
infrastructure.
I do hope at the end of the day, medyo respetohin din yung PPP office and give them more a better place to do business. Kasi kung ako yung investor, parang teka, itong PPP nilagay nyo sa bodega tapos walang masyadong maraming tao, as you pointed out, experts.
Ang problema kasi doon sa PPP, they can only identify projects and help the department put it up. No?
Ayun.
In terms of reference, rules and regulations, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be the responsibility of the department that will execute. Now, ang guidance ko lang sinasabi nun sa PPP, huwag kayong pupunta sa merkado nang hindi nyo kinukonsulta yung private sector. Kasi kung minsan, I know in the past, naglabas ng mga rules, implement PPP project. Ito, hindi man kinonsulta yung private sector. No? Ako, I would have consulted the private sector and talked to the big businesses. These are the rules that we want to implement. Is this okay with you? Is there something that you want to tweak so that it becomes more attractive? So that the government, before it finalizes its terms of reference for bidding, medyo okay sa private sector. No? Hindi yung unilateral na ako ang boss dito, eto ang rules, take it or leave it. Yung pala may kausap ka sa backdoor. No? Tatanggawin.
Okay, well, Secretary Babes, I know that this won't be the last of our conversations, and there is wisdom in seeking the counsel of the wise. So marami kami napulot. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Pero part 2 tayo, sir, ha?
Yes, anytime. Just let me know. Thank you.
God bless you. Have a great day, and more power to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Former DPWH Secretary Babes Singson, and he is now with the Management Association of the Philippines, and he is the president. Kasi dami niyang title, daming kumpanya. But we'll go for a quick break. And then we will shift to a somewhat related topic because there are many motorists in Metro Manila who have been complaining to the media regarding traffic lights, mga trap daw, etc., etc. Even on Facebook, I have seen this where videos are being taken by motorists on their dash cams na kung saan biglang nagbabago ang ilaw pero biglaan and then biglang huli ka. Kumbaga, hulid up. We will go for a quick break here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and we go to our second topic for the day. And some motorists have reported the absence of timers in traffic lights. And some people have alleged that this, they suspect, is part of a conspiracy of hold up, entrapment, and their complaints about no contact arrest, etc. So to address this problem, let's speak to the head himself, the head honcho of the MMDA Traffic Signal Operations Maintenance. Through this, let's introduce him with our video first.
Engineer Francisco Pesino Jr. is the head of the MMDA's Traffic Signal Operations and Maintenance Division. Prior to this, Pesino was the Assistant Supervisor of the division. He is also a member of the Society of Philippine Mechanical Engineers.
Okay, Engineer Pesino, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Kamusta ba yung mga kaibigan natin dyan sa MMDA?
Okay naman po.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. I know you guys are so busy, pero medyo napipick up kasi sa social media itong mga complaints that yung mga dating high-tech, mga signal lights that had countdowns of how long you have to wait at the stop sign or how much time you have to get across a traffic block and the green light, nawala na raw or mabilis na dumadami yung marami nang nawawala, and people suspect it's being used by certain individuals for entrapment. What's going on, engineer?
Sir, for the information ng lahat, hindi po totoo na entrapment po yun. Ang signal operation po natin, traffic signaling system ay may tatlong mode of operation, which is the fully actuated using the detectors for better flow of traffic, and then pwede pong semi-actuated using also the detector. We're in the fixed time mode where we install this timer, because this timer is only effective or useful and safe to use if the traffic signal is on a fixed time mode. Meaning to say, may fixed time mode po, so nakakasabay si timer po natin, ang countdown timer natin, traffic signal. So it cannot be mixed operation. You have this detector and this timer, because the timer conflict with the detector.
Kasi yung timer ika nga set minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, yes, kahit gumuho na mundo, 1 or 2 minutes pa lang siya. So, yung detector ninyo, binibilang yung dumadaan na vehicles, at pag nakapansin na, teka, sobrang dami niyan, para na muna kayo, yung iba naman.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we were under the impression, engineer, that all of this is remotely controlled by the MMDA Traffic Management Center. Hindi pala ito remote control or something?
Actually, sir, mayroon tayo sa out of 535 intersections under MMDA. Meron po tayong mga 50% na connected na po dito sa atin.
Okay.
It can be remotely controlled.
Okay.
Although it can be, may yung tatlong binanggit po na mode of operation, fixed time, semi-actuated, and fully actuated. So mostly ng ating traffic signal ngayon, sir, ay naka-time of day operation, which is where the timer is useful.
Okay.
So yun. But our direction, sa ating direction, is to improve our traffic signal system into an advanced traffic control system, which is being used by developing countries to improve traffic flow and also to help the traffic management in Metro Manila, which we are suffering right now. So yun po ang objective natin.
Okay, now, engineer, what is this observation of people na nawawala na raw yung countdown? Parang Kasi I for one, when we first introduced the countdown, parang sabi ko, ay nako, sayang lang ang pera, countdown, disiplina ang kailangan. But then I realized that the countdown was helpful in managing drivers' expectation and tempers. Ika nga, ano ka ba naman, 45 seconds lang hintayin mo, magtiyaga ka na dyan. So it was useful in managing expectation and patience. But some drivers have noticed na parang nawawala na yung mga countdown sa kanilang regular routes.
Yes, actually sir, totoo po yan. Yung iba na sisira na at yung iba po, ay hindi na kami pinapalitan, hindi na kami nag-procure ng bagong timer. Since in direction nga po natin, papunta tayo sa advanced traffic control system, which is an actuated operation. So, ang signal timing po kasi natin, timer po kasi natin ay nabanggit ko kanina na it is only operating on a fixed time.
Yes.
So when we operate in the next few years, we intend to operate it in a semi or fully actuated. Their timer is not applicable because there is a conflict.
Kumbaga, aandar na lang siya sa sarili niya on its own,
yes,
and will be managing the flow of traffic based on the volume.
Yes, sir. There is the detector senses, which is the intelligence of the traffic signal system, senses the presence or absence of the vehicle.
Okay, what about managing the suspicioso?
Yun nga po, sir. Ito ay nagkaroon lang, sir. Medyo musbong itong mga reklamo nito nung magkaroon ng mga non-contact violation, mga LPUs, which is suspectedly kami ang napagbibintangan. Although we have also our own non-contact violation, but it is only manual na panguhuli through may mga operator kami na tumitingin. But yung other LGUs is now implementing the non-contact violation like Paranaque, Quezon City and Manila. It is as employed system provider to implement the NCAP. But,
so those three, Quezon City, Paranaque, and Manila are implementing non-contact enforcement or non-contact apprehension on their own. Hindi yun MMDA.
But it's connected in our traffic meters.
Okay. So nakiangka sa traffic system ninyo, pero ang singilan sa teritoryo nila.
That's why, sir, sa ngayon, dahil
pwede ba yun? Legal ba yun? O tama ba yun, engineer? Kasi parang, I know that the local government unit has more power than you, yes, but the public perception is this is MMDA mandate or management. Kayo nga ang masisisi.
Yes, sir. Yung po nga nangyayari, kaya po mayroon kaming mga pag-uusap sa ngayon ng mga LGUs implementing NCAP kung paano may improve yung information drive para sa mga motorista at kung paano magiging hindi masyadong mahigpit sa panguhuli na kung po pwede magkaroon ng adjustment sa threshold ng panguhuli para po hindi masyadong masaktan ang ating mga motorista. First, yung information drive, and second, yung adjustment ng kung paano yung panguhuli.
Ito ba yung pinaabot mo na kay Secretary Benhar Abalos, the former MMDA chairman? Kasi I remember recently Secretary Abalos saying that LGU officials should be more creative in their income generation or collection, pero medyo lihis yata ito. Kumbaga nasasabit na pati MMDA, nasisisi na naman ng MMDA. Has this been brought up to the DILG? Because there's something very wrong about this.
Sa tingin ko, sir, wala naman pong masamang intensyon ang mga LGU. Katulad din namin, meron kaming NCAP or manually sa mga LGU is automated. Ang pinaka po main objective po dito is mabigyan ng disiplina ang ating mga motorista.
Well,
But,
and
this
that's
time,
that engineer is the ideal. Tama
Yes,
ka
po.
naman doon.
Opo.
Ideal yun. Kanya lang,
Mm.
ang nangyayari, now may mga pumapalag na.
Yes,
And
po.
alam mo, where there is smoke, there is fire, as they
Yes,
say.
po. Mm.
So, we have a problem bago lumaki yung problema. Kasi, alam mo naman, matagal nyo na akong friendship dyan sa MMDA.
Oo.
Hindi naman tama kayo yung sisisihin. Tapos ang may pakana, yung mga maliliit na operator sa baba ng mga LGU.
Yun nga po sir, na mayroon kaming mga siniset na mga meetings with LGU para ma-harmonize po ang panguhuli nila na hindi masyadong mahigpit. For example, mayroon tayong yellow box sa intersection.
No.
Mismong pag-apak ng front wheel, supposed to be, hindi na nila uulilin muna. Maybe kung nakapasok na talaga doon sa yellow box, yan ang isa sa mga magiging suggestion namin na kung nakapasok na talaga, na clear violation na ng yellow box open, keep intersection open, saka po uulitin yung mga adjustment. At
Yes.
sa party po namin, kung pwede po magkaroon din kami ng adjustment sa signal operation na habaan natin yung yellow time pag tumamalaking intersection.
Yes.
Because ang international standard po natin sa yellow time is 3 seconds. So hindi tama din po na sinasabi ng ating mga motorista na bigla na lang nagre-red. Kasi from green time, bago po pumunta sa red, ay mayroon tayong 3 seconds. That is international standard.
At saka iba yung 3 seconds na 1001, 1002, 1003 kesa sa nawa 123 yung motorista.
Apo. And then, aside from the 3 seconds, mayroon tayong 2 seconds na all red for the safety, para lahat stop. So yun po, kinoconsider, tinitingnan namin, pinag-aaralan para po, mabigyan ng enough time yung mga motorista.
Ay tama ka, engineer, kasi may mga nagsusumbong din sa Makati raw at saka sa Manila, yung bumper daw, yung bumper lang, umabot lang doon sa may pedestrian lane. Yes, o kaya doon sa may yellow box, tinitikita na sila.
Yun
sabi,
yun ang po namin. Nakaroon ng recommendation.
Okay.
Kasi yung pagkabit naman nila sa traffic lights ay coordinated naman dito in fairness sa MMDA bago sila nagkabit ng
Okay. Well, Engineer Francisco Pesino, payong kapatid lang, tawag ka na kay Bossing Benhar Abalos kasi baka mamaya ikaw na naman ang tustahin dito, hindi naman yung kasalanan sa MMDA, kayo na naman ang mabubukulan. But thank you very much for making that clarification that it's not an MMDA thing, it is a technology shift, it is a decision of certain LGUs to backride on your system. And we hope na hindi naman kayo masaktan dyan sa gawain ng iba. Thank you for your dedication, engineer. And
yes, sir. Sa tingin ko, sir, sana po reminder po rin sa ating mga motorista na sana po pagdating sa mga intersection, may maingat po tayo. May maingat po tayo, observe natin ng proper traffic rules and regulation kasi mayroon talaga din mga makukulit na motorista na inahabol ang traffic lights para makapasok.
Yun, totoo yun. At
hindi ng trapiko.
At saka sana sampulan din ninyo yung mga makukulit sa puwet ko na bubusina ng bubusina dahil nagminor na ako.
Yes, sir. Yun po. Yun ang marami pong problema tayo sa traffic so dapat pagtulong-tulungan natin. At kami po dito sa LGU as a partner, ma-adjust, magkakaroon ng adjustment kami. Pag-uusapan po namin yan para ma-attain natin yung objective. Hindi yung magiging sa tingin ay pagiging pamungoto.
Okay. Thank you very much, Engineer Francisco Pesino. God bless you.
Yes, God bless you.
Okay, that's Engineer Francisco Pesino of the MMDA. Let's now go to our closing blessing for the week. And it is from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 11, verses 19 to 20. And I will give them one heart and a new spirit I will put within them. I will remove the heart of stone from their flesh and give them a heart of flesh. that they may walk in my statutes and keep my rules and obey them. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God. And God bless all of you. Thank you for joining us today here on Agenda. Thank you to our guests. And please continue to pray for our nation. Pray for our leaders because sama-sama po tayo sa iisang barko. Ika nga, wag ng bangka, barko na tayo. Okay, God bless. Please keep it here on One News PH.